Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was raised by predators? Part 1. Huge shout out to Hector Flores for this story. If you want more awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. Ever since his first day in life, he suffered a cruel fate. Naruto had just been born and had one of the tailed beasts sealed inside of himself. The very one that would one day be blamed for the death of his mother and father, and so many others. He would begin life surrounded by the death of the people that would have given him the warmth he would always need, but for the first 6 years of his life, he would never find. Having no parents would mean that he was an orphan. Hiruzen Sarutobi had to take back his old post as Hokage. He did this in order to restore order to the village, but secretly he did it to be able to pass laws that would protect young innocent Naruto. Laws that would be officially followed, but unofficially ignored. He was sent to the orphanage, and there he would be protected, or so the Hokage believed. He gave a great deal of money, to be sure that this place could provide for the children, and especially Naruto. The matron mother had other plans, however. She would use the money for herself first, the other children second, and Naruto last of all. The tailed beast was the only thing that would ever provide help. This mighty being kept young Naruto alive. He kept his body strong, while he was supposed to be malnourished. He kept his senses sharp, while they were supposed to be weakened, and he kept the boy company, while he was supposed to be alone. In the first 2 years he began having dreams, and in those dreams he met the infamous QB no Kitsune, or Kurama as he was once named. The two could never truly talk much. So Kurama spent the time teaching him things he would need. Things that a parent might teach their child, and things a teacher might teach a student. When he was 3, he began to tell his fellow orphans about his friend. They all treated him like he was crazy. Nobody had an imaginary friend like that. In his 4th year, the matron was sick of trying everything she could to kill the demon brat. She tried stabbing him in his sleep, putting poison in his food, then outright deny him food. Last was to deny him the friendship of the others. She did this by threatening the children. Those who are friends with that thing will suffer like he does. But nothing worked. So she decided to kick him out of the orphanage and tell the Hokage lies. The old man was far too trusting for his own good. For the next 2 years he wandered the streets, sleep in dark and dirty places, and ate out of the stuff others threw away. When he was found he would be beaten, and sometimes they would stab him and leave him to die. No child of man should have to endure this, and it did leave a mark on him. The sheer misery of this child caused slowly his eyes to change. They first began to lose that ocean blue color, until his eyes were as clear as water. Second was that through pain, he saw the truth that most would ignore. He saw the world as it really was. A vast graveyard, for all things that live will one day die. But the one thing he never expected happened on his 6th birthday. He met someone who was very, very good at hiding, but not from him. On that day he simply walked to the building, climbed and jumped to reach this man. To Wolf he was a very strange young boy. There was no way he could see him. His cloaking system was active, but sure enough the child reached him, and asked him one simple question: "Who are you, mister?" Wolf could hardly believe it. This child was looking at him, with no fear, and asked him that question. "I am what some of you call a predator. I am named Wolf. Tell me, child, why are you not afraid? Doesn't my face frighten you? I have killed many of your kind. Does that not make you fear me?" The child only looked at him, and then looked down. "I wish you would also kill me. Free me from the hell that is my life." Wolf could not understand what could this child mean. So he asked him why his life was a hell? What his life was like? The answers would make him want to kill every person in the damned place. No child should suffer like that. No child should be treated as this child was. They had lost the right to raise this brave child, due to their cruelty. "Child, my people forbid the killing of children, the elderly, the sick, or females that are expecting a child. I cannot do as you ask. But I will do something better, if my elder feels the same I do. He will find you a mother, amongst my clan. You will have a home, a family and a purpose. So tell me, child, would you follow me? Young Naruto could only nod as this strange person took him up in his arms and he ran out of the village and into a clearing in the forest. He touched his arm and something opened under a lot of branches. He saw a strange-looking thing. He had no words to describe it. Wolf sat Naruto on a rather comfy seat and strapped him with some harness. Wolf set the pod to return to his ship and to the place he would bring the child to meet with the elder. Wolf, what is the meaning of this? Why do you bring this Amun child before me? Wolf began to tell the elder everything he had heard from the child, and everything he had felt when he picked him up. He indeed had multiple scars on his chest and back. His visor had shown him he had endured multiple fractures. The elder had seen many cruel things in his life, but cruelty of this kind to a child was not something he would allow. The entire chamber heard the elder scream in rage. This child is strong, to survive what he did. Who amongst you will take this child are your own? I shall, said a young female predator. This is my child. I shall see him become the best of hunters. The elder approved, and so Naruto had a home. His mother told him to call her Void, as she was one that could never have a child of her own, until now. So Naruto and Void began to live together aboard the ship first and later the home world. Predator mothers do not teach, like we do. They teach by example. She was very proud of her child, as he learned things quicker than most. But the environment of the home world was harsh for even most predator children. She had to ask the elder for her son to receive an infusion of her own blood. This would make him able to survive, if he managed to survive the infusion at all. The elder did not want to do this. The child was only 8, and he was still weak. But when Void told him that in addition to being able to survive, the others would finally see him as he truly was, her child. The elder could not deny her request after hearing this. The blood infusion was done, and through it many swore that the child was dead at some point, but suddenly revived. His nails changed to become almost claws like his mother and her people, his skin took the same color as his mother, and his hair hardened. When the infusion was complete and he stood, he walked in the middle of a vast chamber, and did as his mother had ordered him to do. Sit down and not make a sound. His hair was braided in the traditional fashion, and thanks to the blood infusion he was in a lot of pain. But he said nothing, he did not make a sound. The way his mother was doing his hair made grown adults flinch. She was doing it rather roughly, and singing a lullaby that had death of the weak, and killing of the ones without honor as the main theme. It was during this 8 years that Kurama had taught him many jutsu, and many skills he had called ninja skills in his mind. How did the large fox know these things he never figured out? But he learned to use his eyes to extend his eyesight, and could see almost all around him for miles. The use of those so-called jutsu made learning things his mother was showing much easier. It was when he became 10 that he wanted to go on his first xenomorph hunt. The child was too young for that to take place, but he would see how strong the child was. So he accepted for Wolf and this child to go hunt a known xenomorph-infested space station. When the two landed, Naruto asked Wolf to give him a little space. He was going to find the queen. Wolf of course did as he asked. He saw the child make strange hand signs, and then out of nowhere 40 identical copies of the child stood around him. Naruto ordered them to find the queen, kill all the rest. Leave no xenomorph to stand in their way. The clones took off in every direction. Now we wait. So how come you haven't seen me in such a long time, Wolf? Wolf began to laugh as he heard the teen ask him that question. I wanted your mother to teach you, without interruptions. Wolf, why do xenomorphs hide mostly at the center of this place? Naruto could not understand why. Because they can surround their queen with warriors and she would feel safe. Naruto began to walk down a corridor and Wolf followed, with warriors this weak. I don't think she would be safe anywhere. Naruto pointed at a dead xenomorph. My clones killed about 120 of them, not a one worthy to take a trophy from. Hope this queen is different, or I will be the laughing stock of our clan. As they reached the chamber where the queen was, Naruto asked Wolf one question, under the gaze of the queen. Please tell me this fatso is not the queen? Oh boy, that had finally done it. Wolf could have sworn the xenomorph queen shouted something along the lines of, "You lay 10,000 eggs and see if you keep your figure." Wolf was ready to begin a really tough fight, till Naruto stepped before him and told him he would take care of it. Wolf did the only thing he could. He touched his wrist computer and began to record the entire fight for prosperity or for the kid's funeral. Naruto made 50 shadow clones. 40 of them distracted the queen, who was still very angry at being called fat. The other 10 divided in groups of 5. The front did one technique, while the one to the side did another. The front group did a fire style, fireball jutsu, and the other did a wind style, wind tunnel jutsu. The two techniques merged and became what would be described later as a giant flame stream. The queen had no chance and was burned to ashes from the abdomen down. Naruto walked over to the queen and with a blade he had on his back, he did as he was taught and took the queen's head as a trophy. Well, this was not what the elder expected. Here he was, Void's kid dragging behind him a huge sack. "Wolf, what did the young one bring home?" The elder was curious as to what the child had brought home. Wolf respectfully asked the elder to open the sack himself. The entire chamber was surprised to see the clean skull of a massive xenomorph queen. He quickly congratulated Wolf for his fine trophy. But Wolf told the elder that he was not the one that had killed the queen. This made the entire chamber look at the 10-year-old who had dragged the sack in the first place. Void was besides herself. She was simply that proud. She ran and picked up Naruto and gave him what would be a bone-crushing hug. She began to say in their language something that made several adults almost feel sorry for the kid. "My precious boy killed a Xeno queen in his first hunt. Oh, you made me so proud." And so it came to pass that Naruto was given a new name, Death, for the sheer number of xenomorph warriors his clones had killed, just to get at his intended target. In the next 5 years he was given a full armor set, and all the traditional predator weapons. He was quickly recognized as a true hunter, and several clan members were happy to have him in their hunting party. His killing of the xenomorph queen had consequences that could be considered almost as negative. He was literally chased across the mothership by predator females that wanted to bear his child. That was one reason he went to so many hunts in the first place. He did find many of the females attractive, but the way his mother had explained it to him, females tend to be a little passionate when mating, resulting in broken bones, sometimes paralysis, and even death in some cases. He of course could not outrun every single female, and indeed some even laid traps to catch him. So at the tender age of 15 he lost his virginity to a rather well-endowed female by the name of Nightclaw. After the hours-long mating, she left with what one would call a very satisfied look on her face. This made the elder worry for Death. If she told what she enjoyed at his hands he would be chased even more so, and there would be chaos. With a heavy heart he decided to give this hunter a permanent post on one of their hunting worlds. Death would be assigned to be the permanent hunting ground guardian of their most valuable hunting grounds. The planet was called in the inhabitants' language Earth. Void began to get all sorts of this ready, a plasma charger for his weapons, a maintenance kit, a portable trophy storage, his wrist computer repaired and upgraded, and last but not least a brand new visor, with a neural skin feature. He boarded his pod, and was about to leave when she stopped him. "Don't eat anything from your trophies, be careful to choose a mate well, and do not forget to braid your hair after washing it. It is always easier when it's wet. Oh, I am going to miss you, my precious boy." The other hunters almost looked at him like they would miss him too. "I will, mother. Long life to you, elder, and happy hunting to my clan." This made everyone sound really happy, and wished him happy hunting as well. The elder was standing beside Wolf as the proud hunter named Death left, and they both wondered if they would ever see the hunter again. His ship was high in orbit, and he decided to descend using a standard landing pod. His armor looked almost like any other predator, except for his visor which proudly displayed that he had hunted xenomorphs and killed the queen. He quickly turned on this cloak and began to travel from tree to tree. The predator home world had a much heavier gravity than Earth. He began to detect some heat signatures and was sure they were some animals. No reason not to get hunt a little. First he killed a fine deer. He had an excellent size horns, and would make a fine trophy. He took care of the trophy and placed it in his portable trophy case. The case allowed to store many trophies and could shrink down to be carried on his belt. His mother could never answer him how in the world the thing worked. He had a nice meal that he cooked using a fire jutsu. He was having a nice drink of his favorite drink. It was a traditional dinner tea, at least for a predator. It consisted of boiling some blood, with some tea leaves and draining tea when it was cool enough to drink. His mother told him that it offered a nice source of protein and the taste was relaxing. After so long drinking it, he could make it out practically anything, except for xenomorph blood. That stuff could eat right through metal, and he was not willing to see what it would do to his stomach. This planet was too simple. For some odd reason he missed the place he called his home world. But this was one of his clan's most cherished and valued hunting grounds. The chances of him meeting a predator, hunting without the permission of the elder, were slim to none. His was one of the strongest there was. No one would dare cross them, or hunt without the approval of the elder. But deep down he missed Void's cooking. As he finished his meal, he went to sleep on one of the tree branches. It was a practice that fellow hunters did to keep out of reach of dangerous crawling creatures, and in some cases plant life. He was having a nice dream about hunting when some idiot bumped against the tree, and woke him up. The thing that bumped into this tree better be away, or dead. Sure enough, the creature was indeed dead. It was a strangely dressed person. Only Kurama telling him that the person was a ninja made Naruto realize that he was back on the world he once was born on, and had completely forgot about it, or at least he managed to suppress the memory. Now why did this so-called ninja bump into this tree? His visor switched from night vision to infrared. The image came to him quite clear, and he knew what was happening. A group of these ninja was hunting down a female ninja. And this person was the one that killed the fool that bumped into the tree. Females were considered precious by the members of his clan. It was a major taboo to kill a female that could still bear children. So he aimed his plasma cannon, and with the aid of his visor, he targeted every one of her attackers. Kurenai was having a hard time. These Kumo rogue ninjas had just killed her team, and now were trying to capture her, for some unpleasant things. If the reports about their activities in a few nearby villages, these planned to capture her, and sell her in the sex slave market. She was about to trap the enemy in a gain jutsu, when she saw something strange. 3 dots of light appeared on each of the enemy's heads. Next thing there was a blast of light, so bright that made her close her eyes. When she opened them she saw that each enemy was dead. Looked like they had been hit with a fireball jutsu from up close. Whoever is out there, come out. I mean you no harm. Kurenai only heard the wind. Please come on out, I only want to thank you for saving me. Still no reply. Naruto was suspicious of the female. He switched to neurovision on his visor. The visor told him she was feeling gratitude, fear, and pain. This female might be injured, but he had no reason to offer her any medical care. When Kurenai decided that whoever it was would not come out, or was simply shy, she offered a thank you and began to jump from tree branch to tree branch. Kurama told him to follow her. The enemy would not give up so easily. He had nothing better to do, so he did just that, and it turns out Kurama was right. The leader of the rogue ninja was a very strong-looking man. He had 2 gloves that had claw tips. So tell me, Konoha scum, what have you done to my men? Kurenai told him that she defended herself, and that someone had killed them, while she was busy defending herself. The man did not believe a word of it. You expect me to believe that the Gain Jutsu mistress of Konoha was caught by surprise and had a tough time defending herself? Get serious. Naruto was not about to let this male harm the female he had just saved. Using his cloak he sneaked behind him, and as he finished his little monologue, he activated his wrist blades close to his body. The blades cut through the man, and while he was still impaled, Naruto punched him in the back and took hold of his spine. In a scene from what would be a nightmare later, Kurenai saw the 2 blades ripped right through the enemy, and then something ripped his head clean off, by pulling his spine. Then the blade disappeared, and from the distance a war cry was heard, like nothing she had ever heard before. She went in the direction of the scream, and found a strange young man, cleaning what seemed to be a human skull and spying with some tools she had never seen before. Excuse me, can I talk to you for a minute? Naruto kept cleaning his trophy. This would be the main centerpiece of his trophy display, or at least for the moment. He had no time to waste on useless chatter. Kurenai walked over to him and touched him on the shoulder. She was surprised to see that he was wearing strange armor. I really need to talk with you, could you leave that for later? Naruto did not bother to look at her. No, I cannot. You women might treat your trophies however you like. But my clan treats ours with the proper respect. This trophy must be properly cleaned and treated or it will rot, and I will have lost a valuable trophy. Naruto continued to use the various tools in his cleaning kit. When he was happy that he took care of the cleaning, he took a small can and applied it all over the so-called trophy. Then he took a rag and began to polish the skull and the rest of his so-called trophy. When he was done, he took something from his belt and laid it on the ground and opened it. The case became larger, and he placed the Omen trophy. He then closed it and placed it back on his belt. Kurenai could not believe what she saw. Now I can answer your questions. Naruto sat down and looked at her. Did you save me before? And why did you kill that rogue ninja with those blades? And what was that shout I just heard? Naruto introduced himself as Death. He made her promise not to reveal what he would answer, and she did promise that. I did save you, and I do not need your gratitude. I killed them because they disrupted my sleep. Such discourteous creatures you women are. The reason I killed him, he seemed like a worthy prey and the shout was a traditional victory cry of my clan. Now if you will excuse me. Naruto was about to leave, when she made yet another question or more like a new set of questions. Naruto had a feeling this would take some time. What do you mean worthy prey? Are we just things for you to hunt? And can you please let me see your face? Naruto simply answered yes to all these questions. With a loud noise the tubes and cables came off, and he lifted his visor clear off his head and strapped it to his belt. Now what purpose could you have for wanting to see my face? Kurenai saw an almost yellow-green tint to his skin, but other than that he seemed like a normal young man. I was planning to invite you to meet our leader. He might want to reward you for helping me. Naruto put back his visor and reconnected the tubes and cables, doubtful. Your kind are not known to be grateful or worthy of trust. If you will not tell me your real reason, then I will leave now. Kurenai had no other choice but to tell him her reasons. Our leader will thank you, but also without you my report will seem like I made things up. I need you to back up what I report, especially on how those rogue ninja were killed by you. Naruto saw through his visor that she was being honest. The neurovision on his visor was indeed a great gift. He would have to thank his mother when or if he met her again. Very well, in honor of your honesty I shall do that. Please lead the way. She began walking towards Konoha and heard a weird sound. The young man vanished. So he wanted me to turn around to leave. Kurenai was surprised when she heard him tell her that he was still there. As he walked towards the village following her, she asked why hide his presence. Your village does not know me. I could be attacked, and I am honor-bound to kill all those that attacked me. The guards welcomed her to the village, and she went straight to the large building in the other end of the village. This is the Hokage Tower. We call our leader the Hokage. She heard a sound like a small cough. My companion just told me of the 5 people called Kages. Please let's go to your leader. I wish to be away from this wretched place as quickly as possible. Kurenai could not understand why he hated she heard in his voice. She stood in front of an old man wearing strange robes. Hokage, I have the report on those rogue ninja. Sadly my team has been killed while we did our mission. The old man did look rather sad to hear the fate of her team. She proceeded to tell how she managed to get away from the enemy. The Hokage did not believe a word of it. It was like a fairy tale. Please, Death, I need you to tell him I am telling the truth. The Hokage did not understand what she was talking about. Till the figure of a strangely armored young man appeared out of thin air. He was wearing a strange-looking helmet. I did away with the omen that had been trying to trap your female ninja. I also killed a strong omen a few hundred yards from here. He made a great trophy. Now I believe this was your only request. I shall leave. Out of nowhere a team of A and B tried to capture him. they made the mistake of attacking him. She remembered what he had told her. Without a word, he took out a staff and it extended itself. It had some strange lights at the end. In a matter of seconds he disappeared, and in the confusion he killed the entire ANBU team by cutting them to ribbons. The Hokage was about to attack, when Kurenai told him, "This man is honor-bound to kill all that attack him. I think he would kill you too, Hokage, if you attack him." The Hokage understood what she was saying, and sat down again. Naruto retracted his weapon and placed it back in place. "I am sorry, these men felt that you would attack our leader." Naruto looked at her, and told her he had no intention of doing that. He was simply doing as she had asked of him. The old man asked him why he would not attack him, unless he attacked first. "My clan forbid killing of children, elderly, the sick, or females that are pregnant. I can only break that for self-defense." The Hokage asked him if his clan had a name. He was quick to tell him that his clan's name was not something an Uman could hope to pronounce. He asked him to take his helmet off, so that he may apologize to him for his ANBU's actions. Naruto complied. As the helmet came off and his face was revealed, the old man began to smile. This was the boy that went missing so long ago, and was never found. The village had done something completely stupid and threw a big party when he disappeared. Only 3 people cried when this young boy went missing besides himself. The first was Kakashi Hector, the ANBU that was going to be his bodyguard. The people that ran the Ichiraku ramen stand. They often gave him free food whenever he was near their stand. Kurenai could not understand the reaction the Hokage was having just from looking at this young man. His strange skin color, blonde braided hair, and clear eyes was strange to be sure, but the Hokage looked positively happy. "I don't know what an Uman is, but your clan can be pronounced by me. You are Naruto Uzumaki, and a child of this village that had gone missing for a very long time. I prefer that you call me Death. I was given this name by my elder for my achievements. I will not dishonor my mother Void by having you call me some weird name I have never heard before." Naruto was firm on his beliefs. "Then let me tell you about yourself, and you can tell me about who you become." Naruto sat down and waited for the old man to start. He offered him a cup of liquid. "Would you care for some tea?" Naruto took the cup and began to smell it, and then taste it. Strange, this tasted nothing like tea. "It is not poisoned. This will be a long story. I simply want you to be comfortable." Naruto looked at him and bowed his head. "Thank you." Hiruzen Sarutobi told him what he believed his life was like. The happy orphan that disappeared out of the orphanage one day. Naruto was not going to let that stand, and so when he finished his cup of tea, he took a flask from his belt and filled his cup with some traditional tea of his own. The look of both Kurenai and Hiruzen's faces was priceless. There he was drinking something that looked and smelled like blood. "Excuse me, would you like some? It's traditional blood tea." Both told him thank you for the offer, but no thank you. He shrugged his shoulders and enjoyed his cup of tea. "Well, as for your story, you have a few facts wrong. The matron mother never gave me anything resembling as kind, caring, or even tender care. She beat me every day and stabbed me with a knife other days. I was kicked out of the orphanage when I was 4. I lived on the streets, eating out of garbage bins, and the occasional ramen that the people of that stand gave me. My clan rescued me from that hell, and I have been living a happy life with them." This brought the question on who his supposed clan were. "My clan has a very strange name, or at least strange to humans. Excuse me, that is what they call humans." He touched the weird armband and a strange and scary picture appeared. "You may, however, call them predators. This is what they usually look like. Strong, agile, and resistant to injuries to a degree that you would not believe." He touched the armband again. A projection of a strange world appeared. "This is our home world. It has some severe weather, desert, and jungles mostly. But looking at it now, but until now this was my home planet. Predator society revolves around one activity: we are hunters. The tea I offered is perfectly safe source of protein, and helps up acquire immunities to other world diseases." Again he touched his armband and a projection of a well-endowed female appeared. "This is my mother. The one who showed me how to live, raised me and cared for me like no other. Her name would translate to void, mine is death. Females raise their young away from males. This keeps them safe. But what do you mean home world, and don't we live on the same planet? Hiruzen could not understand that, and wanted a clarification. No, this planet is called Earth, and it is our most sacred and cherished hunting ground. My clan has kept this planet safe for countless generations, and more years than you can imagine. Now I shall tell you the laws I live by. Naruto explained all the laws as he had been told by his mother. Kurenai understood why they would consider females precious. The life of these people was dangerous, and they would value the person who kept their species alive. She almost wished that more people on her own country felt like that. I see, what are your plans? Hiruzen wanting to know what Naruto was planning to do. I plan to leave. I cannot remain here. Your people would more than likely wish to steal my equipment, or torture me for information on how it is made. There is also the fact that I don't have any good memories of this place. Naruto finished his cup and placed it on the Hokage's desk. He stood up and was ready to leave. Consider this your last warning. Any who attack me shall die, and if they manage to kill me to steal my equipment, it is set to explode and will burn everything to ash, everything around 300 square miles. My weapons and equipment will only work for me, so no. I can't lend them even if you ask. Hiruzen understood the reason for his warning. He then disappeared, and was gone from the office. There is a problem with what he said. His clan values women, but if one attacks he will kill her. It seems like a contradiction. Kurenai tried to reason her concerns, and Hiruzen simply told her that there was no need to think about it. He said he had no reason to be here. But what would happen if he did have several reasons to be in our village? Say for instance he could find that he has a brother he had never met? Or he might have an interest in a certain dark-haired kunoichi that he just saved? This made Kurenai blush. Naruto returned to his pod and fell asleep. Well, problems with these so-called ninja aside, that black-haired female was rather attractive. She sure had a nice figure, and was very formal. So he figured that he would get along well with her, but deep down he thanked the stars that Nightclaw wasn't on this planet. If he did have a relationship with that female, Nightclaw would want to kill her. The way Nightclaw behaved was a little too obsessive for his liking. So he killed the xenomorph queen at a young age. It wasn't like that hadn't happened before. The elder did it too, for crying out loud. That was the last he was thinking as he fell asleep. Well, it's a beautiful day for a nice hunt. Naruto woke up, killing some bear and having a nice breakfast. But that began the real question, where to find some good prey. He almost entertained the idea of asking the so-called Hokage. But deep down he had a feeling that he would just use him. But on the other hand he would get to kill more worthy prey. Choice, oh the choice he had to make. In the end he went into the Hokage's office and waited till no one was around. He then stood at his back and waited for him to look relaxed. Well, how long are you planning to breath down my neck? This caught Naruto by surprise. It shouldn't surprise you with that morning breath of yours. Naruto appeared and sat down. So what can I do for your death? Naruto looked at him and smiled. I could use some worthy prey. You wouldn't know anywhere I could find some? As a matter of a fact, I do have some rather tough targets, but do you always need to take the skulls? Naruto told him yes. That would be a problem. How about you bring me the head and show it to me? Then you can keep it afterwards. Naruto's so problem with that. So where are these creatures at? Hiruzen gave him a hard look. People, death, these are people. He simply told him it was easier to kill if he thought of them as creatures. People tended to have families, loved ones, people that would miss the person being killed. So it made life easier to think of them as creatures, things, or even vermin. Life must be hard for you. Naruto replied with a simple question, who has an easy life? Hiruzen gave him what looked to be a scroll, with weird-looking drawings on it. Problem? Naruto excused himself as he punched a few keys in his wrist computer. The translator feature did the work. Oh, I think I got where they are. By the looks of it, they are not far from here. Hiruzen had to ask why the confusion before. I don't know how to read 'em in text. My visor translated it though. He touched a few keys and a map of the general area was displayed. See, we are not that far from there, a good morning walk. Hiruzen wanted to argue that it would take some of his ninja several days to get there. When will you present the heads? Naruto got up and told him in a couple of hours. It wasn't that far after all. He disappeared and Hiruzen began to plot. By that time Kurenai could be in his office. Maybe if he got them to spend some time together, Naruto would eventually want to live in the village. Man, nothing worth stealing. Hey Morikoba, are you sure these pathetic villages are worth anything? The leader looked at the idiot and glared at him. Look man, at the very least you get to kill some pathetic waste of space. One of his followers looked shocked as he saw their leader impaled by two sharp-looking blades that come out of thin air. As their leader's body fell, they heard a voice laugh. Who is there? Where are you? The group started to use lightning jutsu and trying to paralyze whoever had killed their leader. The next thing one of them knew, he was pulled up to the trees with an almost invisible wire. He is in the trees. Must be one of the cowardly leaf trash. Little by little the group became smaller, and no matter which jutsu they tried they simply could not find the enemy. When there was only one guy all alone, surrounded by the dead bodies of his boss and now dead friends. I am going to enjoy gutting you, you stinking bastard. Naruto appeared and gave him a cold killer smile, as he did not see the disc coming his way and cut him in half, right at his waist. He got out a nice carving knife and cut all their heads and put them in an airtight container, and he placed the container in his portable trophy case. Kurenai was not sure why she was called to the Hokage tower. But there she was having tea with the Hokage, obviously waiting for someone. What are we waiting for, Hokage? I have a team to train. Can this wait a few another time? Hiruzen smiled and looked behind him. Death, I have 2 words for you, mouthwash. Naruto appeared behind his seat and walked around his desk. He presented him with a container holding 9 severed heads. All easy to see and identify. These the creatures you mentioned? Naruto, not wanting to waste time. Yes, but what are the heads in? Naruto explained it was an airtight container. He did not want his trophies damaged. Kurenai could not help but to notice the look of horror on some of their faces. If that is all, it will take me a few hours to properly treat and preserve these trophies. I shall be on my way. Death, I actually wanted you to spend some time with the woman you rescued before? Naruto gave him a questioning look. You will need to know more of our culture. If we are going to work together. Naruto gave him a hard look. I don't work for you. I do you a few favors and kill your vermin. I have no reason to learn about a culture that beats and almost kills a child and considers it normal. Kurenai explained that those people were sick in the head, that he should give them a chance to prove to him that not everyone was like that. I will talk with you, as long as you don't mind me working on properly treating my trophies. Kurenai was an experienced kunoichi, he had no problem with that whatsoever. Then to a clearing where we can have some privacy. I will follow. Naruto disappeared. She decided to go to the 3rd training grounds. You may speak, I will get to my work. Kurenai saw him put down the container and take out some really horrible-looking tools. She began telling him about the monument and how ninja were trained in the village. He could not believe that they survive after such pathetically weak training. He almost pictured his mother laughing her head off if she heard how they trained. Something amusing? Kurenai could not help but ask, as she saw that brief smile. The smile came to a stop. No, I'm merely remembering how my mother showed me how to survive. She would find your training to be children playing. Kurenai then understood why he smiled. Naruto clearly missed his mother. Tell me about your mother. Naruto smiled yet again. Mother is the most vicious, strong and efficient of the females in my clan. She was named Void because she would never have a child. I might be considered adopted, but to Void I was her child. She showed me how to live, survive and grow strong. Predator mothers do not spend time telling someone how to do things, they teach by example. You miss her, don't you? Kurenai almost wanting to slap herself as she saw how sad he looked as he continued to work. More than any human will ever know. I miss her and my clan. My hunting buddy Wolf and the Elder. But it is my duty to guard our sacred hunting grounds. I will fulfill my duty and make Mother and the clan proud. Naruto had finished cleaning and storing his trophies. They had not been what one would call exceptional, but at the very least in some weird way, he had done his duty. He turned around to find something he had not been expecting. A sleeping Kurenai on the ground. He did try to wake her up, but it appeared that she was either faking it, or she was just a heavy sleeper. He was debating with two possible choices. First, leave her where she was, but he knew his mother would not look at such an action kindly. On the other hand, he could carry her to her leader, and ask the man where he could find a safe place to take the sleeping woman. This made him thankful that Wolf would not see it. He would have a field day with this. Or the third option of taking her to his pod, but that could be misunderstood. So he chose the option of least trouble. He picked her up in an almost like he was carrying a bride. He then walked as quickly as he could towards the office of the Hokage. He really wished that she did not shift so much while he carried her. Her breast kept touching his chest, and in some cases he could tell she had a very nice figure for an woman. When he reached the office, he did not wait for the secretary to announce him. He just walked in. Point blank he asked where he could take the sleeping woman, a place she would be safe. The Hokage was looking at the young man, with a smile on his face. He pulled a folder from a cabinet, and told him where Kurenai lived, and gave him something he called a spare key. Why would her leader even have such a thing? But he had no time to dwell on that. He had to get the woman to her home, and then he planned to return to his pod, and enjoy a traditional heart and liver stew. He had enough ingredients thanks to some bears he had killed earlier in the day. When he reached the building, the other tenants of the building were giving rather weird and rude looks. He did not care. He walked up the stairs and with great difficulty he opened the door. Walking to her bedroom proved to be even more difficult. She had traps set throughout her apartment. When he finally placed her on her bed, she grabbed him and dragged him onto the bed. She held him close to herself. Her arms were around his neck and her legs around his waist. He simply could not get loose, at least not without causing her harm. To the merciful stars, and our divine huntress, I pray that this female will not misunderstand when she awakens. With that simple prayer he decided to sleep. His bed was rather comfortable. He still had a nightmare, one of the many times Nightclaw had tried to mate with him. She had thrown him through the wall of his dwelling on their home world. He kept telling her that he would not mate with her, and she demanded to know why. Naruto awoke as he felt someone move, just as the elder in his dream had called for him. Good morning, Death. I hope you can explain to me how we ended up on my bed, in my apartment? How did you know where I lived anyways? Naruto was tempted to simply leave without answering anything, but that would be rude. You fell asleep while I finished properly treating my trophies. I carried you to your leader, and asked where would be safe for you to be. He gave me a key and told me where your apartment was. Kurenai was looking at him, and was still waiting for the rest of the answer. Clearing his throat, when we got here, I opened the door and found some traps all over the place. I placed you on your bed, and when I was about to leave you dragged me on it. Your arms were around my neck and your legs were around my waist. I could have gotten loose, but I did not wish to cause you harm. So I went to sleep, with you holding me. This made her face blush, and was surprised to have been that clingy with him. So what would you like for breakfast? Naruto was not the one confused. What do you mean? Kurenai explained that she was offering him a meal as a thank you for carrying her all over the place, and taking her to her home, and ensuring she would sleep in a safe place. I don't suppose you would have a few bear livers, a plant you call onions, and a few starchy foods that grow underground. I think you call them potatoes. I think that is what the things are called. Kurenai laughed at him. Don't you think liver and onions with a side order of a baked potato is kind of heavy for breakfast? Well, since I carried you last evening, I haven't had dinner, so I happen to feel rather hungry. But if you do not have such items, I will take my leave, and go to my own pod. I think I can cook something there. Naruto had started to get up when she stopped him. Kurenai apologized for making him miss his dinner, and asked him what he would plan to have. Heart and liver stew. It's a family favorite. My mother made it so good. She asked him why his was so special. He described how she cooked the heart and liver in the blood of the animal, and added the herbs as it was cooling down. Kurenai wondered how many dishes his clan made used blood as an ingredient, and when she asked his answer as simply, 350. She could not believe it. His clan had 350 recipes for things that used blood as an ingredient. He told her that they also used the brains in just as many recipes too. Thankfully his mother was not a big fan of those dishes, they took too long to cook. Kurenai had enough livers and some meat from a bull. She decided to follow the recipe, minus the blood. She decided to use tomatoes crushed into a paste as a substitute. She finished the dish and put it on a plate on her kitchen table. She made some eggs and potatoes for herself. When the food was served, she called him to join her at the table, which he did. It tasted differently good, but different. He was not ungrateful, and even took the dishes to the sink, or what he thought was a sink. The pod or the ship would have a place that would clean and sanitize all the cooking and eating utensils with a simple voice command. She asked him that why he did not take off his gear and help clean the dishes. His only reply was that he was forbidden to take his armor off, or put down his weapons in his home, or in the company of his mate. So he could not do that. Furthermore, his clan had things that took care of things like cleaning dishes, or washing clothes. She wished she had something like that, but he told her, the only one that could approve of him sharing that knowledge was the elder, and he was either on the mother's ship or on the home world. It was unlikely that he would meet him on the planet he was on. Sadly, his hunting days were long gone. He was the wisest and most experienced person, but also the oldest. We hold the elder in high regard due to his lifelong experience, knowledge, and wisdom. He is the one to decide on most major issues within our clan, and with other clans. But knowing him like I do, he would not want to share our technology. He would consider it a risk to this planet. We protect this world, as it is our most sacred hunting ground. So they settled for her washing the dishes and Naruto drying them while wearing thick cloth gloves. The two working together to clean a few dishes and pans felt weird to him. Kurenai was also feeling something. She was feeling comfortable. She had never had such a peaceful sleep before. She had no idea why she clung to him, and what drove her to pull him down onto her bed. But one thing was certain, he was more of a gentleman than any of the men she ever dated, and that included the son of the Hokage. Asuma at that moment dropped his cigarette as he sneezed really hard. He thanked for the meal, and was about to leave when she told him, if people saw him leave her apartment, they would imply something was going on between them. He told her that some people had seen him carry her into her apartment, and open the door with a key. The fact that they are going to talk was already happening. She promised that she would make a plausible excuse. Then he told her he better know the excuse, so he could back it up if asked. How about we were training, and after a hard fight I fainted and you decided to take me home? Naruto told her that would not work. He told her that she was not as frail to faint after a simple training session. This, of course, made her blush. He told her that maybe after a 10-hour-long training session, she decided to take a nap. When he found her, he decided to take her to her place for her safety. Kurenai told him that sounded like her excuse. He corrected that by telling her, in his excuse he did not make her sound weak. Well, let's get the show started then. Kurenai opened the door and thanked him for taking her home, and making sure she was safe. Naruto told her that it was no problem. That she should tell him when her next day off was, maybe they could do some hunting together. That would be lovely, Death. I will keep that in mind. Kurenai gave him a kiss on his cheek and went inside her apartment, and closed the door. Naruto for his part was not expecting that. Neither was the cat-masked Anbu that was going to visit Kurenai. Excuse me, young man? What relationship do you have with Kurenai? The cat Anbu looked at his with a critical look. I am her friend, we both like hunting, and we sometimes talk about traps and snares we both like to us. That's all. She wasn't buying it. She mentioned that it was strange for her friend to kiss a hunting buddy like that. Then if you don't believe me, why don't you ask her and quit wasting my time? Naruto did not like to be treated as being a liar. I will do that, but for your information. This is a building for Chunin and Jounin only. Civilians are not allowed. Naruto looked at her, and she felt something that she hadn't in a long time: fear. I helped a friend, and one of her friends decides to insult me. If all the people in this village are like this, I guess I should really talk to the Hokage. I might not be willing to help him with his rogue ninja problems. He walked without waiting for the rude woman to talk back. So the Hokage knows him. Maybe I should ask him too about the supposed about him and his relationship with Kurenai. Hiruzen had a bad habit on using his crystal ball to spy on people. He saw the entire thing between Death and the ANBU. He could not help smiling at how Kurenai gave him a small goodbye kiss. His plan was already working. But the way he talked to Cat was making worry. Death had no love or trust for the village, and with good reason too. The Hunter Ninja Commander was already furious that he had given targets to an outsider, and when he heard that the same outsider finished such a large group and so fast, then he wanted to recruit him. But thanks to Cat, his plan might fail, and the Hunter Ninja Commander would not get his chance to recruit Death. The cat-masked ANBU decided to knock on her door as she heard it open. She did not wait to greet her friend. Who was that, and what is your relationship with that man? Kurenai blinked, and after a little while she understood who she was talking about. Death. Oh, he is a hunting buddy that I like to talk about hunting theory with. Would you believe it? I spent 10 hours training and decided to take a nap. My friend was worried that someone would take advantage of me, so he took me home. He stayed and cleaned my entire apartment during the night. I am so embarrassed, it was such a mess when he first entered. What do you mean, Death? Yugao could not understand who that was. Death is the name of my friend that just left. I offered him a small breakfast as a thank you. Yugao then asked about the kiss. Oh, nothing major. I was simply grateful to him. He even helped me with washing the dishes and cups. Now it was her turn to ask her about her intentions towards her hunting buddy. She told her she almost looked jealous. Not now, and not ever. I am not interested in either a weakling or a pervert. Who knows how many things he imagined as he put your clothes in the drawers. This was going to be fun. She invited her friend to a cup of coffee and they could talk about how much she knew about him, and what they talk about in privacy. Yugao of course accepted the offer. As they both walked in and she saw that the room was indeed cleaner than she expected from a singles apartment. She sat down and waited till Kurenai gave her the cup and saucer. There was sugar on the table and a spoon. Kurenai poured coffee in both cups and sat down. Kurenai did not spare any details, except for the ones that she knew Death and the Hokage did not want to disclose. She told her friend how Death was what one would call a hunter ninja savant. He had no formal ninja training, but he spent most of his life hunting. So he ended up using a similar training style and hunting techniques. He saved her after her team was killed. He took her to the Hokage. Kurenai told Yugao that she should know how good the Hokage is at spotting talent. He asked Death to take care of some rogue ninja, and ever since he has taken care of difficult cases, or when the group is too large, or when the hunter ninja of the village were busy. He was a very formal young man. She was sure that her friend was about to make a formal complaint with the Hokage this very moment. You might have cost the hunter ninja commander a chance to recruit him, and the village a very skilled hunter. I hope that satisfies your curiosity. Yugao didn't believe that a person with no ninja training could kill a genin, much less a rogue ninja, so she continued drinking her coffee. How fast could the guy be anyways, without the ability to use chakra? So what are your plans now? Kurenai finished her cup and smiled. I plan to become a teacher to one of the new squad of genin that are graduating. I hope I can get the one the daughter of Hayashi Hujie will be in. I think that girl will need some support, seeing how she was treated by her father and cousin. Yugao was not done. What about your personal life? Kurenai did not even look shocked at the question. Train and get stronger. I don't want to ever feel as weak as when my team was killed. Kurenai asked her what she planned to do. I plan to walk over to the Hokage's office and cut off the jerk, if I get there quick enough. I might prevent him from damaging my good reputation. Yugao put her cup in the sink and left through a window in the living room. Good luck, cat. You are not going to be faster than my friend. Naruto walked straight to the Hokage's office. He flat out demanded to be told why Hiruzen had not bothered to tell him, that the building was for mid to high rank ninja. Hiruzen simply answered that he never asked. Why so upset, Death? Naruto told him that one of his ANBU, a cat-masked ANBU to be precise, just insulted his honor. He had not planned to take the appropriate action, and challenged her to a duel to the death. But this incident served to show him once again that the village was no place for him. I do not know her, and she treated me like the worst pervert who ever lived. I told her my reasons and she treated me like a liar, with a tone I should have expected from someone in this village. Seeing Kurenai be so polite had made me want to seek a permanent residence in the village. Even look for a bounty hunting job here. But thanks to the words of your ANBU, I think I will live outside the village and only talk to you or Kurenai from now on. With that in mind, what creatures you want me to hunt next? Hiruzen was not going to have the same discussion about him not calling them people, at least not after what happened. He handed him a scroll, and waited for his visor to finish translating it. You know, Death, it might be better for you to learn to read our language. Naruto looked at him with an angry glare. My visor does a well enough of a job. I have no need to learn to read your language, and your culture seems to leave much to be desired. Naruto disappeared and was on his way to his next hunt. It will be a cold day before I learn to read the Amon's bird scratches. Why would I want to anyways? When Naruto reached the place the rogue ninja had been attacking merchant caravans, he was met by a sight that made him even more angry than he already was. He had killed their leader, and instead of fighting back, or trying to find him, they all started to beg for their miserable lives, asking the unseen fiend of Konoha to show them mercy. They had killed, raped, and stolen everything from at least 4 caravans by the look of it, and now they beg for mercy, when they gave the merchant none. Thanks to the cat-masked ANBU, he was already angry. He knew what she was thanks to Kurama telling him about the different divisions of ninja in a village, and how to recognize them the night before in his sleep. But thanks to this display he was furious. Using his visor he targeted each of the man's genitals, and he used a blast from his plasma weapon. He blew the lower half of their bodies. He walked over to find a burlap sack, and cutting their heads off he threw them in the sack. Not a single worthy one in the entire bunch. He took the sack like more people were carrying their house's garbage, and he headed towards the Hokage office. At the very least he would be happy, and Naruto could go to his pod to have a nice dinner. So let me get this straight. The hunter who beat my record was willing at one point to come and live with us, and even I had a chance to recruit him. But thanks to a cat-masked ANBU, that chance was shot to hell? Please tell me this is a joke, because I don't find it funny. The hunter commander had every right to be upset. Just as he finished speaking and had sat down, a cat-masked ANBU knocked on the door, as was let in. Speak of the devil, here is the disrespectful loud mouth that cost me my very best chance to recruit what would be the best of my hunter division. Yugao shot him an almost angry glare. She was obviously feeling insulted. Death came by a few hours ago, and he told me everything that happened. He was very upset and told me thanks to you. He made a decision regarding living in the village and working with our ninja. His answer was that he would not work for such dishonorable and disrespectful people. He will not even live in our village at all. Yugao looked at the Hokage and told him like they need a pathetic runt like him anyways. The killer intent of the now furious commander could be felt by the foolish ANBU. The man beat my record for the fastest kill and more than likely the fastest ever in my division's history, and you dare call him a pathetic runt. It took the Hokage to ask him to calm down for the killer intent to lower. Just then Naruto appeared behind the Hokage and dropped a burlap sack on his desk. The proof you wanted. Don't bother giving me back the sack, you can keep them. There was not a single worthy prey in the entire bunch. Naruto then disappeared, and was then that Yugao ran to the place he was once standing and yelled to release the Gain Jutsu. Nothing happened. She felt the place where he was standing, nothing but air. 5 rogue jounin that had been terrorizing the local caravans, and all with looks of fear, or downright terror. The leader simply looked surprised. It seems that death found them unworthy to keep as trophies. No wonder they picked on helpless civilians. This statement by the Hokage surprised Yugao, who asked what he meant. He keeps what he calls worthy prey as trophies. If what the Hokage and I believe. He places them in a display to honor them and remember them. Because of this ANBU I might have missed having such a great hunter in my division. The hunter commander walked out of the room and took the sack with him. Only the Hokage and Yugao were left in the office. You have no idea how important that outsider is to our village, and now thanks to you, we might have lost our chance of recovering someone I cared for, as much as he was my own grandson. Leave Cat, I don't want to say something that I might later regret. Yugao felt like she had done something wrong, but she believed that she would get there faster than he could. This belief turned out to be wrong. If he killed all those rogue jounin and so quickly, and without formal training. If he had some type of training, he would be a force to reckon with. She understood why Kurenai held him in such high regard. Naruto was quite comfortable in his pod, and it always reminded him of his clan, and how different they were to the people on the planet he was on. With the exception of a few people, a lot of these people do not have our sense of honor. I miss my home every time I see that these people are not like mine. He wondered how his hunting buddy Wolf was, if the elder was busy with clan business, or how his mother was. I have to find a way to change how my weapons and armor appear to this woman. I have a feeling that they will foolishly try to steal some of my gear, or try to get me to spill how they are made. How foolish! Don't they realize that the material doesn't even exist on this planet to begin with? He finished his dinner, and places his dishes in the sanitation unit. He then remembered how he had mentioned it to Kurenai. He for some reason trusted her. But that rude cat masked ANBU had left a very bad impression on him. I was foolish in thinking that if Kurenai was honorable, then people like her would be too. I can't live in this pod forever, as much as it feels like home, but I do not want to live in a place with people I can't trust. I wish I could ask Mother for some of her wisdom. The elder would tell me what I did wrong and how to prevent it from happening again. Wolf would tell me jokes and laugh. He decided to turn in for the night, and had another dream of his people and his clan. When he woke up, he found some pretty nice sized snakes, and cooked them for breakfast. He decided to look for a nearby cave, or something that looked like an underground cavern system. He needed to find a place that was not easy to access by the human, and was big enough for his purposes. He needed to use the things his mother had packed for him, and finally make a home for himself. No cave system of any kind. He could try to use his ship's main weapon and blast a deep enough of a cavern, but that would draw unwanted attention. I guess I could always ask the Hokage if he had knowledge of a cave system in the area. I could make the excuse that I planned to hunt for prey down there. He began to walk in place, and then it hit him. No, that's no good. If he knew where I was looking, it wouldn't take long for him to figure out what he was really doing. I can't have dishonorable men show up in my home. He would have to plan a security system that would keep his home safe, and deter other men from trying to get in. Poison gas, no, that would kill everyone. They could even try kidnapping civilians to use to test the effects. Laser array? No, they would try and dig them out to steal them. Self-destruct? Brilliant, here I am trying to keep my home safe, and the idea I came up with was to blow it up. Naruto was pacing back and forward things on how to keep the place safe. Ri's situation was not as easy as he had thought of the night before. Kurenai was a person that so far had proven to be honest and honorable. This could serve as a good test on how trustworthy she was. He would use some of the equipment in the pod to create a nice enough of a home, keeping all his gear, weapons, and other things he wanted to be kept out of women's hands safe. The construction did not take long, and the place looked to be a rather humble place. The woman would call it a decent home, his mother would call it a shack. But the preparations for the test were done. Now he needed to set the test in motion. He first would go to the Hokage and tell him he had made a home for himself. If he was not trustworthy, he would try and see what he had in his home, or flat out send people to steal things from his home. He went towards the Hokage's office, and while being cloaked, he walked right in from an open window. So, Death, what can I do for you? This made Naruto look surprised. I left that window for you to step in. Naruto appeared and sat down. I would ask you if you have any more creatures for me to hunt, but also tell you I have built myself a modest home. This made Hiruzen once again tell him he could live in the village. That the village was a very good place to live, I will not live where most of the people are not worthy of my trust. I do not believe you would like to wake up some days to hear of a massacre. The Hokage did not understand. If your people attack, I would have to kill them. This made him remember that Naruto had a much different way to deal with those that attacked him. He would knock them out, but Naruto would kill them for simply trying to attack. As a matter of fact, I do happen to have one person who has been causing trouble to our blacksmiths. This fool keeps stealing weapons and armor that our best blacksmith had just finished. We want the fool dead, so that it will deter anyone else from trying the same thing. The thing is that we don't know where he is. Naruto asked if they had their blacksmiths separate from each other by some distance. No, they all work in a segment of the market section of the village. It helps control possible fires. Naruto told him that he would take care of it. He disappeared once again. The task was simple. He found a high enough place for him to see all 3 blacksmith shops. With his visor he would keep an eye on the place they put the finished merchandise. He would look for the thief and look for the place he would store his stolen goods. If the thief had enough stolen goods, he could dispose of him, or simply confront him. Naruto was itching for a good fight. The petty thief was actually very easy to find. He somehow managed to change his physical appearance and pretended to be an assistant of the blacksmith. That was why he knew where the new weapons or armors were finished or where they would be stored. Then he simply hid in one of the storage rooms, and when everyone had gone home, he came out and took everything he wanted and left. So mind telling me why you are stealing from all these blacksmiths? Naruto asked the thief. He was dressed in armor that Kurama told was a chunin. Well, since you are about to die, why not? I am called Mizuki, and I used to be a teacher in the academy in this village. You have no idea how low my salary was. Then Orochimaru promised me a position if I weakened Konoha. I figured ruin the business of all the blacksmith was a step in the right direction. The second part was to kill any ANBU or hunters that were sent to investigate. Now say your prayers because you die now. Naruto had expected a simple answer, money, revenge, or even to lower the price on merchandise, but no. He got a very detailed explanation of his plan to betray his own people. Mizuki must have believed himself more skilled, or simply overconfident in his own skill. He threw several big shuriken and expected them to hit Naruto. He caught them with one hand, as if he had thrown toys at him. This is how you throw a weapon. He activated his disc launcher, and the disc went flying. Mizuki evaded it thinking he was safe, but the disc changed direction in flight and cut both of his legs off. Naruto then took the big shuriken and threw them at Mizuki. He was pinned to the floor, like a bug ready to be placed in a collection. He calmly walked over to where he was and with his own wrist blades he pulled Mizuki's head off, spine still attached. He placed him in an airtight container and went on his way to the Hokage's office. Hiruzen was not there. He left a note telling him he would be waiting for him at his new. Not wanting to keep his guest waiting, he went home. Well, Death, can I see who the thief was? Naruto presented the head, and the Hokage was very disappointed in the now dead academy teacher. I imagine you will keep it as a trophy. Well, I can only tell you one thing. This is a very lovely home, Death. But I still say you could live better within the village walls. Naruto offered him a cup of tea. The only condition Hiruzen put was that it didn't have any blood as the main ingredient. A few minutes later he gave the Hokage a cup of tea and some crackers. My answer remains the same. I cannot live in a place where I cannot trust the majority of the people that live there. Give it a try, you might be surprised. Naruto looked at him and simply told him that most surprises he ever was on the receiving end of were almost never pleasant, or even trouble-free. He would help him, but that was it. He would never live in the village and he would never get to hold a rank over him, to make him do anything he did not agree to. He would help, but never join his ninja, ANBU or any other of the division that served under him. Hiruzen's only advice after hearing that was, never say never. In a month after the Hokage visited his home, nothing really bad happened. Well, that is not exactly true. Since Hiruzen now knew where he lived, he kept visiting and trying more and more to get him to move into the village. trying hundreds of excuses ranging from the village has changed to he was too busy to come to his house, which was too far away from his office. Naruto would not chance his mind. In reality, he disliked the village just as much, or even more than he remembered. The positive was that the Hokage did keep the location a secret. A few stupid bandits had tried to steal something from his house, but they died so horribly that the surviving bandit told his friends, and his friends told theirs, and then the tries to steal from the house of the fiend stopped altogether. In a way that was good, he could concentrate in his training, and on the other he had fewer and fewer worthy prey. Kurenai decided to follow the Hokage, to see where he was going, and she was surprised to see what a nice home Death had. Well, at least after she got over the not-so-warm welcome by the man's shadow clones. When she entered into the room and the clone explained that she apparently had followed his guest, Naruto dismissed them and got for her a new cup of tea. Can a friend pay you a visit, without the whole crook treatment? Kurenai was not happy about how he was treated by the looks of the glare she was giving Naruto. I had planned to invite you in a couple of days. I had to make sure my home was presentable. Kurenai with a pout told him his home was more presentable than hers, and that didn't stop him from entering it, and even spending the night there. Well, I think I should really give you two some privacy to talk about things like that. Hiruzen left the house, but he was smiling that maybe his plan was going to work. You do realize that the way you said that made your leader believe that we were lovers? Kurenai started to drink her tea, or at least trying to. Not my fault that he misunderstood what I said. Naruto did not believe a word of that answer. So tell me, how do you like my clan's traditional tea? This made Kurenai bring the cup up close and smelled it. Blood tea? Naruto smiled and took a sip of his own. None other. A few bandits decided to steal from my home, and well, I had a few pints of it after I got done with them. This made her look at him with a glare. You are joking, right? Naruto continued to enjoy his tea. About using the bandits' blood, yes. I used the blood of a few wolves. It gives the tea a nice rustic taste. She looked at her tea, and could not believe the thing was made with blood. Tastes like normal tea to me. Naruto finished his cup and told her it was also considered normal by his clan. Could you do me a favor though? Naruto asked what favor she wanted. Could you keep some traditional earth tea around, and give me that instead? Naruto Simple did not look that bothered by her request. Alright, more for me then. It is only shared with people my clan considers good friends. But no problem, all I ask is that you buy the tea leaves you like. On the one side she was happy to be considered a good friend, on the other she felt like she needed to wash her mouth several times. Okay, deal. I will bring you some of my favorite tea leaves. Just as Kurenai had left, his visor gave him a warning signal. It appears that a ship was now in orbit, and a pod was going to land, in the general area where he landed when he arrived on the planet. I wonder, should I be happy that someone else is landing, or go and see if I can finally have a decent fight? He activated his cloak and rushed towards the landing site. When he arrives, the pod was still warm. The occupant must be nearby. He turned to his visor to thermal vision and followed the person from afar. A bandit had done the stupid thing to try and attack this person, and with a pair of wrist blades she cut his head off. She had finished a deer, and this alerted the bandit to try and attack a hidden enemy. He heard the person give the traditional cry of his clan. I can't believe it, that sounds like Mother. He rushed over and tackled the large predator lady. She was taken by surprise and was going to attack. Mother, I am so glad to see you well and healthy. This made her look at the person who was hugging her and smile. I missed you too, son. Tell me, my precious boy, how you been here on the Omen world. Naruto smiled at her and asked her to follow him to his new home. Son, I am glad that you are well, but I am not happy to see you live in his shack. I would have stayed in my pod if I were you. Naruto welcomed her in and invited her some nice tea. I told you dozens of times, you boiled the blood for too long. I can hardly taste the red blood cells. So who is the female? What is she like? Naruto played innocent and told his mother he had no clue what she was talking about. Oh, don't you give me that. I got the smell of a woman female in heat as soon as I stepped into his room. Naruto told her again he had no interest in an human female. Well, Wolf just had a pair of children with Nightclaw. I figured that the smell meant that you were also busy. Guess I was wrong. Not that I mind, Mother. But what brought you to his hunting ground? Void smiled and told him someone damaged her Omen trophy, and she came to hunt for a replacement. Since he found her, she decided to catch up. She then asked what was wrong? He was only formal when he was worried about something. I think the Omen will try and steal our technology, and the leader of a nearby village has been pestering me to live in his village. I need to hide my equipment, but you know I should not even take it off. Oh, that right? You left before your last birthday present arrived. Well, this should make your life a whole lot better. It's a program upgrade for your cloaking system. This will allow you to change the appearance of your gear and let you blend in more with these pesky Omen. Naruto was happy that such a thing existed. Son, you are not the first or will be the last of our kind to have trouble keeping things out of Omen hands. Naruto spent the rest of the day catching up with his mother. He asked about the elder, about his mother's life, about his friends, and how was the hunt on other worlds. Void was happy to tell him that the elder was fine, if not a bit bored without him around. Wolf had killed some xenomorphs, and blasted the colony to atoms with his ship's weapons. She had a rather peaceful time hunting and would be lying if she said that she did not miss him. He was spending some quality time with his mother, when he heard someone walk towards the door. It was two people. He wasn't expecting anyone, and his mother saw the look on her child's face. She used her cloak and disappeared. Naruto walked over to the door, ready to attack. Do you need something? The Hokage told him that they had reports of a small earthquake and he and Kurenai wanted to see if he was alright. He opened the door. As you can see, I am perfectly fine. Kurenai smiled. Can we step inside and talk a bit? He looked at where his mother was. She used her family hand signals to tell him that it was fine by her. Very well, you caught me at a bad time. My mother decided to pay me a visit. The Hokage and Kurenai looked rather sad to have missed the chance of meeting his mother. She sounded like an amazing person. Too bad, I would have loved to meet her. She always sounds like an amazing person. Kurenai could not hide that. She wanted to meet this person for several reasons. You just might if she feels like it. He looked at where his mother was standing. I would also like to thank her for doing such a good job raising you. The Hokage was sitting a few feet away from his mother. His mother decided to turn off her cloak. Oh, it wasn't easy raising a child alone, but I always loved my precious son. The look of fear on their faces was priceless. When Death was a child, he was always wanted to learn new things. He was the most eager boy in our clan, when it came to training or working out. I was so proud when he showed me his first trophy. The Hokage asked her about her husband. She told him that she had no husband. Our females seek and find worthy males when in heat, they mate, a child is conceived and the pair go on with their lives. The child is left to the mother to raise. The Hokage then asked her how she knew their language. A long time ago, long before my own mother was born, we had several Omen join our clan, as they proved themselves worthy to join. Naruto saw the look of confusion and explained that being worthy to join means that the person was an exceptional hunter. One that was able to defeat one of their clan, and live. These Omen taught us your spoken language, but we could never learn your written language. It simply is too foreign to us. I gather from your demeanor, and the way your body is reacting that you are the female that is after my son? This took both the guests by surprise. Kurenai tried to deny it, and the Hokage was surprised she was able to tell so much from such a brief meeting. My son may be clueless when it comes to this matter, but what do you expect? He is male. But I know a female hunting for mate when I see one. Naruto could not be more embarrassed. Mother, please, she is my friend. She probably already has a mate with the other woman. Void wasn't so easily fooled. Look, son, you need to open your senses and smell the pheromones. She wants you. I would think that you time running from Nightclaw would teach you that. And before you tell me again that she has a mate, where is this supposed mate? Why is he not here defending his position of being her mate? We might not marry, son, but that doesn't mean we females don't defend what is ours. And you bet Wolf will beat the living tar out of anyone who dares to even try to mate with Nightclaw. So where is her mate if she had one? That pretty much made him stay quiet. Kurenai had to admit that the way they talked, it almost sounded like a pair of beasts growling. Sorry, we had to have a rather lengthy discussion, as I was saying. Are you the female that wants to claim my son as her mate? The Hokage just got used to the idea that all that growling and noises was talking. Kurenai decided to drop the charade and decided to tell the truth. It was implied by the Hokage that it would be a good idea if I got Naruto to join our village, and that I seduce him if it was necessary. But the more I got to know him, the more I actually liked about him. He had a dedication to his training second to none. He is strong, but still remains very humble and honest. I stopped trying to seduce him for a while now. Now all I want is for him to get to know me, and if he likes me, the way I like him, I would love to have a relationship with him. Void smiled. See, you should trust in your mother's senses more. I can't wait till I tell the elder my son has an human female after him. Naruto looked like he was begging his mother not to do that. Would that really be a problem? Kurenai asked her. Not for me, but Naruto will not be allowed to go on any more xenomorph hunts if he is considering to take a mate. This made the Hokage ask what exactly was a xenomorph. Void gave them a long lecture and showed them images of what a xenomorph was. And Naruto likes to hunt these monstrosities? Kurenai could not believe what was being implied. Oh, he loves it. He killed a xenomorph queen at a young age. Why only the elder had managed that before him? The Hokage finally understood why all those rogue ninja seemed to not even be a challenge for him. Compared to these things, killing rogue ninja was practically a chore. As much as I love to stay with you, son, I have to return to the mothership. I will tell Wolf about your possible new mate, and your greetings and best wishes to his mate and the twins. Don't forget to take care, you are the guardian to our sacred hunting ground. You must keep the bad bloods off this world. If they ever dare to show up. Naruto got up and kissed the side of her face, and she did the same to his forehead. She disappeared and left Naruto with his guests. So that was your mother? She seemed nice, but who is this Wolf? Naruto filled a new cup with the blood tea. Wolf is my best friend, old hunting buddy, and the closest thing I have to a brother. I am glad to hear that he is doing well. Hiruzen began to see that while they indeed based their lives on hunting, they also cared about each other. He finally understood that the way Naruto called them his clan was not wrong at all. Any of you interested in a cup of traditional blood tea? That was the signal for them to leave. No, thank you for the offer. I will have some more rogue ninjas for you tomorrow. Hiruzen excused himself. I was not kidding, Naruto. I really do like you. I hope one day you might like me as well. Kurenai left and followed the Hokage. The upgrade was just what he needed. His cloak was now able to make his usual gear look like something that the Umen considered normal. It even can help me charge the look of my face and hair color. I really should get Mother a nice thank you gift. But the only problem with that was, there aren't anything that she could want. The ship can and does make anything a predator needed. He had decided for a nice dark shade of red for his hair, and managed to hide the whisker marks on his face. His clothes were a simple dark pants, black boots, and his shirt was a nice gray shirt. He made his wrist computer look like a bracelet, but in the last minute he decided to simply make it invisible. The bracelet would make people ask him questions. He was walking his way towards the Hokage's office when the secretary asked him who he was, and what business he had with the Hokage. He simply told the lady that Hiruzen was an old friend of his family, and that he was visiting. I see, well you are in luck. The Hokage is taking a break. Naruto asked if he was still reading those books. This made her look at him in shock. He told her that he was an old friend of his family. So of course he knew that he read Ika Ika. Excuse me, young man, but who are you? Naruto looked rather pleased. It seems this will work out after all. If this can even deceive even you, Hokage. He touched at his wrist, and the usual look of his gear and person appeared. So you mastered the transformation jutsu? Naruto simply told him, no. This is using my clan's equipment. I was not even aware there was such a jutsu. Hiruzen walked to his bookshelf and took a scroll, then he tossed it at him. He of course caught it. Well, Death, that is a scroll with the basic ninja jutsu and chakra control exercises. You might find it an entertaining read. Naruto thanked him, and asked him why he was giving something like that to him. Well, Death, sadly it is becoming clear to me that no matter what I do or how I ask, you will simply not want to live in the village. So I figured that if you knew some useful things and learned that they are things you could learn here, you might at the very least want to spend some time within the village library. Eventually you might change your mind, but I am not expecting a miracle. Naruto told him quite clearly that he had good reason not to trust the village, and the fact that most of the omen he met so far were less than honorable. His like of the village was not likely to change. If he helped him, it was because he was trustworthy, as was Kurenai. What do you mean? Hiruzen gave him a confused look. I decided to build that house, at first as a test. If you or Kurenai were people that were going to betray me, you would try to steal something from my home, or send people to attack me, at the very least place traps in my bedroom. You have done none of those things since I told you. You could have sent people to make me think that my home was not safe, and that it would be safer to stay within the village. You could then tell me the you would keep me safe as long as I live in the village. Again you did not. Hiruzen began to see how well he had planned his little test. But last thing was, when you met my mother. I know that to you and she would appear like a monster, and cause you some fear, but not once did you insult her, call her names, or flat out treated her like anything other than my mother, the person who lovingly raised me to be what I am. So with all that I learned that you two at the very least are trustworthy. Hiruzen wanted him to join the village, but he would not use dirty tricks to do it. If he joined, he wanted him to join willingly. But he understood that the possibility was there. Kurenai might want you to live here as well, so that you can get to know her better. After all, she made it quite clear that she wishes to attempt a romantic relationship with you. Naruto looked at the man with a very serious look. She might not want that, if she saw how brutal I can be. Hiruzen reminded him that she was a kunoichi, that she has seen many brutal battles and outcomes. Naruto looked almost sad as he turned to walk to the door, and changed using the cloak system. Even if I had to kill 500 innocent people to save a world from being infested by xenomorphs? Hiruzen had no way to answer his question, and so Naruto left the office. The cruel math of combat. I never expected someone so young to have to face such a thing. To save a world, 500 people would be a small price to pay, but there are some who would condemn him for doing it. I know I would not. I lived through so many wars, I would do the same. But he is worried that Kurenai might condemn him. I should talk with her. Hiruzen got up and put on his hat. He walked directly towards her home, and she had just finished making a pot of tea. As the Hokage knocked on her door, she opened it expecting Naruto, but instead of who she expected, it was the Hokage. Can I do something for you? Hokage. Yes, I need to ask you a private question, and the question might determine if you want to really have a relationship with death. This must be a pretty serious question. She welcomed him inside and offered him a cup of tea, which he was grateful to take. As they both sat down and took their first sip of tea, how would you feel if someone had to kill 500 innocent people to save everyone in the elemental nations? Hiruzen knew that it was not how Naruto had asked the question, but putting the question in familiar terms would cause less confusion. She took another sip and began to think about her answer. After a few minutes she told him that it was a small price to pay. Sometimes you have to kill some to save even more people. She was not a naive genin who believed they can save everyone and still had that blind faith. She knew life could be cruel like that. So why the question? Hiruzen now took another sip of his tea, and he looked at her almost in tears. Because death had to kill 500 innocent civilians to save a world from being infested by xenomorphs. He told me that he did, and looked very sad. I think he is afraid that you might think of him a monster. She knew exactly what she had to do, and exactly what she needed to do. She excused herself and told the Hokage that she needed to do something that she might later regret. So she walked with the Hokage out of her apartment and asked Hiruzen to wish her some good luck. What exactly are you going to do? As Kurenai walked a few feet away from her, she gave him an almost unmistakable look. Oh, nothing too much, just planning to tell that guy what I think of him, and if I am lucky, well, I will get really lucky, and a few times more after that, and who knows? I might be off the market, as it were. That was the look of a woman who was planning to sleep with a guy, and she was not taking a no for an answer. I do hope his clan taught him about birth control, but then again, if she becomes pregnant. No need to get ahead of myself. The Hokage did wish her good luck, but also a good night. Kurenai basically ran towards Nataro's home, and when she got there she knocked on his door by hitting it with her fist. Well, someone is either going to tell me half the forest is on fire or is in a real hurry. I hope the fire is not that bad. He opened the door and was grabbed by Kurenai. She proceeded to give him the hottest kiss he ever had in his entire life. She continued said kiss till she was dragging him inside the house, and kicked the door to close it. I don't mind receiving a kiss from a beautiful woman female, but what did I do to earn it? She leaned close to him, making sure he could feel her breast pushing against his side. I just heard that one question you asked the Hokage. I was so touched that you worried about my opinion of you. I just had to come over and tell you what my answer would be. He tried to put some distance between them, but she was not going to let that happen. So what is your answer? Kurenai smiled and touched his chest, drawing little circles. My answer is simple. You saved a whole planet, and you only killed 500 people to do it? That is simply amazing. I probably would have killed at least 1 million, just to be sure. I am not naive little girl Death. I know that sometimes you have to kill some to save even more. But that doesn't mean I was rather touched by your worrying about my answer. Kurenai began to run his hands towards his waist, and pulled him really close to him. As they chest touched, she felt a nudge and smiled. Is that a ninjato in your pants, or are you that happy to see me? Naruto told her that was not a weapon of any kind. She told him that she did not agree. She grabbed him and pulled him to what looked to be his bedroom. I told you I like you, and by the way that felt you like me too. So why don't we stop wasting time and let me show you how much I like you? And you can show me too. Naruto was wondering what she meant, until he saw her take off all her clothes and jump onto his bed. I have never, and I mean never done that in my entire life? Kurenai got into a really seductive pose. Haven't been in bed naked? Or haven't mated before? Naruto answered both. Don't you worry about it. By the time I am really get into it, you will not want to ever go without me again, and by the feeling of that thing. She pointed at his tool. I will definitely want that a lot of times. So stop talking, and come and get me. Naruto was not sure why or how, but he got undressed in a few seconds. His shadow clone appeared and took all his gear and equipment, and placed it in a quantum storage device. Naruto kissed her lips, her neck, and continued kissing her down the valley of her breasts, and came up and touched them as she began to moan. He licked his was doing until he was at the place that was rather wet, and kissed, touched and licked, and fondled. The way things were going, he was making her feel things that no man ever made her feel before. Her breathing got harder, deeper, and her moans got closer and more lustful as he continued. Kurenai had enough and decided that he should also be on the receiving end. She flipped him and she took time to admire the magnificent tools she was going to enjoy. A kiss, a fondle, a lick, and when she was getting really hot she placed it in her mouth, and began to try and make him feel at least half as good as she felt. After the pair had their first orgasm for the night, and she swallowed what she considered to be her new favorite drink. She smiled at him and decided to begin to ride him like a cowgirl. She was in the first time in her entire life, feeling complete. The feeling of joy and sheer pleasure kept getting better and better. The harder she rode him, the better it got. He, on the other hand, was feeling as much joy and pleasure, but he wanted more, so he took hold of her breasts and began massaging them. This made the whole thing get hotter, and faster and harder until they felt like they could go no higher, and in a single move she dismounted and his cum splashed her stomach. They were breathing hard, and in the afterglow that he had heard described so many times before, she looked so beautiful that no words could describe. He simply kissed her, and she returned the kiss. But the kiss suddenly stopped, and she whispered that it was time for round 2. All throughout the night they made love, and they enjoyed it more and more as they each found through it what the other liked to feel, and how each liked to touched. "Do not come in me, unless you are going to claim me as yours." That was what she told him as they rested between sessions. In the early morning, as he finally took charge of what would be their last time to do it, for that day, he just plowed her with complete and total abandonment. He was really into it, and he did not care what happened or who would even come knocking. The world, the universe, all creation did not matter. It was only her and him making the most passionate love and wanting it to never stop. But the time finally came to make his decision, and he chose to come hard and deep inside her. "I guess this means I am yours." Kurenai smiled, and as he kissed her, "And I am yours too." So it was that as the sunlight bathed the house, the two fell asleep in each other's arms. When she finally began to awaken, she saw Naruto smiling at her. "So I guess this means you finally get it. I love you, Death. I want to be with you more. I want to see where this relationship takes us, but what do you want?" Naruto smiled and told her he wanted some breakfast, which caused her to hit him on his shoulder. "I want the same, but I will tell you this, even if I do love you, and do want to spend time with you, I will not be one of the people of Konoha. That place has never been my home, and it will never be. I will help your Hokage because he is honorable and trustworthy, but if one of them becomes dishonorable, I will leave, and I hope you and our family come with me." "What do you mean, our family?" Kurenai was wondering about that. "You and our offspring, of course. You are my mate, and I am yours. But remember this, any male who tries to take my mate from me will die. I will not let that happen while I live." For some reason she felt like he was claiming ownership of her, but on the other she felt protected and cared for. "I wouldn't worry about kids just yet, stud. I was in one of my safe days. I will have your kids, but first you must marry me." In the following month, Naruto and Kurenai decided to live together. The way they behaved was like a couple of newlyweds. Which of course made many a man smile at seeing the once called Ice Queen of Konoha look so happy. But there were some negative consequences as well. Mainly one Asuma Sarutobi. He quit smoking because in his own word, he kept wasting spitting one cigarette after another, when he heard how happy Kurenai did, or how her latest date had been seen by someone else. But we all know the happy life of a newlywed doesn't last forever, and it was bound to settle down and cool down to a standard level. "What do you mean you will not be seeing as often, Kurenai? Care to explain?" Naruto seems like he did not take the news well. "I told you a few days ago that I was taking a position as a teacher for a new genin squad. I will be with them on missions, so I will more than likely not be so many times in the village. But you are one to complain. Have you heard a single complaint about your little hunting trips?" Naruto hated to admit it, but she was right. "But there must be something we can do. I just can't picture my day beginning without you there, by my side." Kurenai made a suggestion for him to join the ninja corps in the village, but that was turned down flat. "Why don't we ask your Hokage? If I had a problem I could not figure out, I could always ask the elder." Somewhere far, far away, in another star cluster, said man sneezed really hard. "I guess I should see the healer. I think I am coming down with something." Kurenai liked that idea, but she would not live the answer. "So let me get this straight, you want to be able to be with your mate, but not be part of this village ninja. Well, there is a solution. You can make yourself look like a hunter ninja, and then I will assign you to her team as a sort of backup. The hunter commander would be happy his division gets some credit, and I will be happy that you finally pick up your pay for those dead rogue ninja. It is starting to pile up, and piles of money is practically inviting someone to try and steal it." Naruto simply told him he had no clue what a hunter ninja looked like. So he called in the hunter commander. The man walked to the redhead and gave him a frown. "So I have to wait this long to meet the man who has been stealing prey from my guys? You got a lot of nerve asking me for a favor." Naruto told him that if he had any problems with him killing said prey, tell his Hokage. He was standing over there. Naruto even pointed him out. "Well, I was planning on giving you this stuff anyways as a recruitment bonus, but as long as you wear it, and my division is seen as strong." I am fine with you pretending to be one of mine. At the very least, you got some guts being able to stand up to me. I like that. The hunter commander disappeared, to which Hiruzen asked Naruto why was he surprised. The shadow clone was a ninja technique to begin with. He managed to get the items scanned by his visor, and in a matter of seconds his cloak changed to look like the things he had finished scanning. Oh, well, let me put these away then. Kurenai put the equipment away in a storage scroll. Your codename will be Death. But why don't you use your real name? Naruto told him Death was his real name. Hiruzen corrected himself, the name his parent gave him when he was born. Because your stupidoman might recognize my name, and try to attack me. You know what would happen then. The Hokage simply told him that if they attack him, they attacked a person under his protection, so they deserved to die anyways. When the pair was about to leave, he asked a question that made him hit his face with his palm. Would that include one Asuma Sarutobi? Hiruzen then realized that he needed to have a talk with his son. So what will you do? Go by your codename all the time, or can me and my team call you by your birth name when we are in the field? Kurenai asked him as he dropped the look of a hunter ninja, and assumed his civilian look. Let's do this. You decide. Would you want to call me Naruto and Death only in the field? Kurenai did not respond and instead kissed him on his lips. Naruto got the message loud and clear, that was an obvious yes. They both walked together towards the academy. This place doesn't look like they train to kill, hunt, or even track prey here. Kurenai told him to sit with her in a nearby bench. You do make a good point, training is rather relaxed for what my people do. But that is why I am joining them as their teacher. The academy only teaches the basics. Naruto told him that would get some of the students killed. Kurenai agreed, and told him that she was happy to have him along. He would be able to teach them the harsh reality of combat, and she would be able to provide emotional support while they get over the initial shock. Naruto looked at his smiling mate. Why do I get the feeling you had this whole thing planned? Kurenai laughed. Oh, I have a few other things planned, like the names for our kids, what I will wear for our wedding, and even a rather cruel little prank I will do on my team when we meet them. Naruto loved to have a mate that kept him on his toes. When the teams were announced at the academy, there were only 2 students that looked like their life was sent straight into hell. They were Sasuke Uchiha and Sai. They had the misfortune of getting 2 problems in their team, Sakura, the pink useless pest, as Sasuke called her, and the single laziest, tardiest, and most undisciplined teacher ever. One named Kakashi Hector. Kurenai told them to meet at a training field, and they were there on time. There was their teacher standing next to a muscular guy wearing the gear of a hunter ninja. Okay, how about a little introduction? We will begin. I am Kurenai Yui. I like gain jutsu, training, and my beloved mate. I dislike perverts and dishes that have blood as an ingredient. My dream is to eventually settle down and have at least 3 kids with my mate. Kurenai looked at Naruto, and was clear she wanted him to continue. My name is Death Starblade. I like many things, I dislike just as many things as I like, and my dreams are no business of a pack of green ornaments. Kurenai walked over her mate and told him he should do it for real, or he was not going to get any in the entire year. Alright, I think my mate finished with his little joke. Naruto looked like he took off his mask. His flaming red hair and handsome face was making Hinata blush. My codename is Death, and you will use it out in the field. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like Kurenai, my clan's traditional cooking, training, and hunting. I dislike weaklings, perverts, dishonorable people, and traitors. My dream is to make my clan proud and to have at least 3 little girls with Kurenai over there. Kurenai was blushing as he mentioned the girls' part. So you ladies first, you're next. My name is Hinata Hokage. I like my clan, and I dislike sexist people. My dream is to do away with the division in my clan. Shino was next. My name is Shino Aburami. I like bugs, I hate people that insult or kill bugs for no reason. My dream is to be the head of my clan. Kiba did not even wait to be told. My name is Kiba, this is Akamaru, my partner. I like my clan and our ninja dogs. I dislike disloyal people, and people who hurt my partner. My dream is to get everyone to recognize my clan's strength and lead them to a happier future. Nice mate you got there, Death. I wish that I was a lucky. Naruto looked at the dog. Thanks to the translator function, he understood everything Akamaru just said. Thanks, Akamaru. I am sure you will find a mate that is right for you. Akamaru looked surprised. Yes, Akamaru, I heard you loud and clear. So no rubbing on my mate's leg. Clear? Akamaru smiled, crystal clear. He looked at Shino and flat out asking him if his bugs would hurt Kurenai, and he said no. Alright, now for a little test. My mate is going to hide in the forest. You three have 30 minutes to find him. If you find him, you pass. If you don't, I will place you in a Gain Jutsu of your worst nightmare, and you will go back to the academy for more training. Naruto decided to interrupt and tell Shino to get the bug off his back, or he was going to do it for him. Sorry, but my host told me to do it. Naruto looked at the bug and smiled. No problem. But be more sure of yourself. Females have to be strong to lead. This surprised Shino. What is the matter? Shino looked at him with a dead serious expression. You know how to talk to insects? Naruto smiled. I know 4 common insect languages fluently. You'd be surprised how many planets are actually ruled by insect races. I just happen to have hunted on their worlds. Shino wanted to call it a lie, but the female bug knew it to be true. Well, one hide-and-seek game coming up. Naruto disappeared and the 3 went their separate ways. So how long till they figure you never moved at all? He gave her a hug from behind. Oh, I give them 20 minutes at least. The only sad thing is we can't use that time for something productive. She smiled at what he was thinking. I did pack a lunch. We can have a light meal while we wait. Naruto extended the cloak's range and she too disappeared. The couple enjoyed a really sweet and tender moment for 10 minutes, but there were people with eyes like his. Hinata was once of those people, and she got together with Shino and Kiba to surround the happy couple. When they finished eating their lunch and a few hot kisses were shared, they heard a person faking a cough. I am sorry to interrupt such a tender moment, but do we have to wait 20 more minutes before you tell us that we pass? Kiba was not very good with hiding when he believed he had the upper hand. So will our teachers please stop doing that? The entire area smells of your hormones. I could find you both with my eyes closed. Shino punched on the shoulder. What's it's true, and Hinata is getting an eye full. Look at her blush if you do not believe me. And my bugs smelled your food. Shino just had to say that. Naruto was kicking himself. So much for a quiet romantic lunch. Well, at the very least teamwork was not going to be a problem. Kurenai was having the same thought. Teamwork was not going to be a problem, but she had to do something about how they interact with each other. Kiba needed to learn not to announce everything to their opponents. Hinata's shyness and Shino's inability to talk and interact with their teammates. With a small kai being whispered, he turned back his cloak to his hunter ninja disguise. He and Kurenai were seen sitting together under a tree. Well, at the very least you can work together, but why would we make her blush so much? Hinata has a problem with being too shy, and you two were probably doing something rather intimate. Kiba received another punch on his shoulder, this time by Hinata. We were doing what any normal couple does, a kissing and holding each other. Shino looked at them, and then at Hinata. But to someone as shy as Hinata, that is something that she could never do. Kiba got another hit on his shoulder, this time by Shino. Hey, why is everyone hitting me on my shoulders? The blushing Hinata and Shino both looked at him. Because you can't keep your mouth shut about unnecessary things. Well, I guess this team passes. Kurenai stood up and was standing rather close to her mate. They do, but they will need to hear a pretty harsh lecture from me. So everyone sit down and listen. Naruto began to tell them the truth of combat, and how they sometimes have to kill. He then explained his training regimen for the team, and then how each one of them could improve. Kiba complained about him not knowing them well enough to know how they even fought. Naruto explained that he actually saw some of the members of each family fought, and how Hinata did not want to hurt someone who looked to be her little sister, and lost a sparring match. You need to care about your friends, family, and eventually your mates. But all others are people that owe you nothing, and do not have to feel anything for you. Taking pity on an enemy is a sure way to get you killed. Shino, these people need to hear what you are thinking, And no, I am not spending 4.5 years teaching them the insect language your bugs use. Kiba, you need to learn a bit the meaning of the word discretion. Hinata, I will make you a tough, confident, and fearless team member, even if I have to send you to the healer at least once a week to do it. Now they all stood up and believed that the team meeting was over, and they could go home. Now I want you all to give me 5 laps around this field, 200 push-ups, 200 sitting-ups, and repeat that rotation 2 times. The team looked at him like he was kidding. We will be here till you finish, so get moving. A few hours later there were some really tired kids. You want to improve their stamina. But why do so much? Kurenai stood really close to Naruto. Well, I wanted to see their current stamina. This is not good. We will need to do something like this more often than I had planned. Kurenai told him they had time to do that. He told him the first 30 or so missions will be nothing more than glorified chores. They can get the training they need in while they do those, or so Naruto believed. I will see what I can read in your library about helping them. Kurenai was about to tell him only ninja were allowed to read some sections, and she remembered he could make himself invisible using his gear. Try reading about seals. I think the 4th created a seal for training, something called a gravity seal. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comment section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.